This says user your ruler. I think I meant to write use your ruler to construct the medians of this triangle. So first I'm going to do this with the compass just to remind us of how to do it with the compass. Then we'll do the other two with the ruler because it's easier with the ruler. But median is basically, this is just a line that connects a midpoint to a vertex. So what I mean by that is if I take my compass, and you should kind of remember how to do this. This is what we did in constructions. We made midpoints. So I'd take my compass, just kind of trace an arc from that vertex. And then if we bring this over here, and without changing the settings, I'm just going to put the vertex point on the other, there we go, on the other vertex there. And I'll use that also to trace another arc. And I did it kind of in light gray just so that we don't mess up our lines or anything here. So what I've done is I've constructed the midpoint. If I line up my straight edge, my ruler with this and this crossing, and I make kind of a mark right there, that's the midpoint of this side. And what I need to do is I'm going to use my line tool, or you can use your ruler, and I'll use, there we go, I'll use green. So I'm going to use my line tool to connect the midpoint with the opposite vertex. So not this one or this one, I'm going to the opposite vertex, just like that. And that's my first median. And to show that this is a median, I really just want to draw in some hash marks here. So I'm going to mark this and this. That just shows that these are both equal segments, which makes this green line a median. And I need to do this for all three sides. So that's kind of why I made my marks in light gray. I'm going to take my ruler for the second one. This is easier to do with the ruler. Again, I just wanted to remind you of how to do it with the compass. With the ruler, mine ends up being, let's see, about 14 inches, a little bit shorter than that, but about 14, centimeters is 14 centimeters. Yours would be different just because yours is on the paper. Mine's blown up here on the screen. So half of 14 centimeters would be 7 centimeters. And what I would do is I would take, from here to the opposite vertex, again, not this one, not this one. I'm going to that opposite vertex and just kind of draw a line there with my line tool. Once again, I just want to make some hash marks here. I'll use now double hash marks to show that these are two equal segments, which makes this the midpoint, which makes the green line the median. And we have one side left to do, so those were the first two sides. And this could get kind of hairy with the compass. That's why I just did the first one with the compass. Again, I'm going to take my ruler here and just line up. This looks like about 5.5 centimeters, right? So that would make the midpoint. I'll draw it in here. Right, so that's 5.5 centimeters. So that would make the midpoint about 2.25 centimeters. So right about here. It's a little bit off. Let me see. Let's see if I get these to line up nice and neat. I obviously kind of messed up one of my measurements here, but it should be right about there. Hopefully all three of your lines should meet at just one exact point. Mine are just a little messed up here. But what I'll do is I'll just make my point extra big to hide my mistakes here. Does that sound good? So I'll just make a big purple point that hides my mistake. And my last thing I need to do, I need to draw in my hash marks again. So this is, whoops. There we go. I've already used single, double, double. So my third side will be 1, 2, 3 hash marks, 1, 2, 3 hash marks, just like that. And this purple thing, this is my point of concurrency for medians, for the medians of a triangle. All right, this one's kind of the most important one. We call this the centroid. And this is the one that we really use the most. Maybe put a star or something next to this just so you remember. Centroid is kind of the important one. Centroid used a lot in geometry, also used a lot in physics. If I do all the measurements on my shape, especially if it's a triangle, and I find that centroid, this would be the center of mass, right? If you cut this shape out of your paper and you balance it on the tip of your pencil, right on that purple point, this would perfectly balance right on the tip of your pencil. This would be center of mass. All right, and that's a little bit of physics there for you. Why is this important to us in geometry? Because this divides the medians into doubles. All right, go ahead and make sure you write these down. Center of mass, this divides your medians into doubles. And what I mean by that, if this was, let's say this was, looks like about 3 centimeters here. I'm just guessing, just making up a number. But if that was 3 centimeters, this other piece of the median would be double that. This would be 6, right? Or if I told you that this smaller piece was x, this over here would be 2x. Right, so whatever number the smaller piece is, I just double that to get the larger piece. All right.